Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What is happening here? I just flipped onto my so many fires. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's been a lot of fires. All right, let's get on here and let's get going. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I was just saying how many fires I've noticed lately. There is the train going through Toronto, I think it was, that had some of its carts on fire as it was going through a part. I don't know if it was in Toronto, but an area, and it was tra- moving through. It was moving through. It was on fire. I think there was five of them that were on fire. That was crazy. Um, a fire in Edmonton, a fire in Bowness here in Calgary, and weirdly, six fires started in BC by Quesnel, and they said they're man-made. So that is really, I don't know. I just find it kind of crazy, but it goes with the crazy energy. So happy full moon in Scorpio. Here we are. We are in this beautiful full moon in Scorpio, and it's a little bit intense. Well, Scorpio isn't exactly a hey, come on, let's cuddle kind of energy. They're not very. They can be cuddly. I mean, I'm a Scorpio. I can be cuddly, but then I do have a moon in Cancer, so I think that softens me up around the edges a bit. But it's the thing is about with this full moon, and then it's squaring Pluto, so that just adds a little bit more of the cray cray to everything of what it is. But it is, it's not easy. It's not easy. I think this is really not a time to, and especially with, well, of course, having a full moon in Scorpio means that you have a sun in Taurus, right? And it's 1 degree off of the fall lunar eclipse that was in the fall. So this is, I mean, this is at 4 degrees, it was 5 degrees then. So this is like really kind of a, an opening, a realization that you do have power, but the power isn't out there, on something else. The power is within you. So that's where this, is coming through. So this is a reminding, each other that how everything unfolds and everything, how everything works. That yeah, when you look at the astrology, it kind of knows it's 411. Whether you do Vedic astrology or Western astrology, there is a correlation between the two, right? But when you're looking at it and looking at how the planets are moving and how you're reading it, there's pretty much a real correlation between the two. And I find that very fascinating. I'm not an Vedic astrologer. I'm more of a Western astrologer who just likes to get on the 411 of what it's going and what is happening. And I think this with this full moon, it is shattering more of our reality, shattering more of the things that are happening in our lives and making us more aware of how much we do have and how we can have the gratitudes and keeping the gratitudes that we need to do. This is like weird times. I mean, the eclipse we just had was an opening, a releasement. This is where, especially when we're having a full moon in Scorpio, is to being aware of not burning your bridges. Scorpios are very good at burning bridges. Like, we'll say fuck it and throw the baby out with the bathwater and just go crazy. Taurus doesn't. Like, and that's what you got to remember. We're in Taurus season. Taurus does not burn bridges. Taurus likes to keep the bridge, likes to make sure the bridge is insured, likes to make sure everything is fine. With the full moon here is this is like this is where you could go really off the deep end with things and really say, "Oh shit, fuck this," and throw it all out. And that's not what you don't do that. This is where you could get into really weird, obscure, needy type of relationships, right? And or just say fuck it with them. This is could be a day, and I could see it because my husband and I had a little bit of a tiff today. Um, Arguments over stupidness, like just and just feeling "Rrr," and get having that resentment for it, and you're just when you sit back and you look at it like, well, that's dumb, you know? But just little things that will annoy you, and that's Scorpio with, full moon. Being aware of that's gonna help you to get through this, especially over the next couple days, because it is an early full moon, meaning that it is, in the first decade of Scorpio. So this is where you don't want to be self-destructive. This isn't where you just want to say, I just want to throw everything out. I am just going to start new. I am just, recreating. This is going to be a better thing. This is better than what I already have. That's not what you do right now. This isn't about letting go of something and then thinking that you're going to have something else that's better. This is about looking at what you do have and how to make it better. What are and this is where looking at where not being self-destructive with your own life, because it's very easy to do that with this energy. We just came off a beautiful conjunction with Jupiter and Uranus, and we had and the last time it was, and I think I said Aquarius last time that it did this, but it wasn't, it was Aries, where it conjuncted 3 times from Pisces to Aries and Aries back into Pisces. We also have that sun, that was squaring Pluto. We have the moon squaring Pluto. Things can look too good, right? And understand, and this is really to understand your truth of your values. And this is where you could really throw out and say, well, that's better over there. That, the grass is already greener on the other side, not really looking at, wow, I really do have some beautiful grass growing here. I really do have some beautiful things happening for me, and I'm going to cultivate them and make them even better. That's where it is at. This is where people could just really jump off the deep end and take things way too far. This full moon is like in Scorpio, worth and value and life around you, yes, but to stay, stay within what you are, who you are. And then with that square, because it's squaring its ruler, the moon does not like Scorpio. All right, it doesn't. And in fact, it hates Scorpio. All right. So when you have a moon in Scorpio, this is where it's in detriment. It doesn't want to be here. It's exalted in Taurus. It would rather be somewhere else than be in Scorpio, because Scorpio is basically can be a dumpster diving kind of energy. And I'm a Scorpio. I know this. This is where you can just go down and start these fires. Fuck it all. We're burning it all. Burn down the town. Let's go. And we'll build anew. Right? It feels like the moon has tempered this energy for me. Well, because you're a Leo. That's different, right? And plus, you're in an opposition with Pluto right now, which can bring in a little bit of cray cray as well. But the thing is that this is the earth and the water. So huge vibrations that are going on there, right? And feeling those vibrations. I burnt it all down before the moon. And to stay sustainable. This is where, I have the desires and want, and then you have that Pluto, and convincing that the values within oneself, and looking at that. And this is where you could be easily seduced by this Pluto in Aquarius. And Pluto's stationary. It will be going retrograde soon, in the next couple of weeks. So Pluto's going to be going retrograde. And you're going to have, this is where you're, can disregard things with this energy. But with this beautiful Taurus energy coming forth, reminds you, You won't get, what you want, the shit that you want from looking outside. Again, it's all within inside yourself. That of what you want to create. You already have. You got to take it with what to the max of what it is that you have and what you are wanting to create. This is where, as I've said before, everything, if you want to create something, it's all in your phone. It's all on your whatever desktop or laptop you have more information and things that you can create if you are wanting to create, say, a website, a blog. You want to create something new, or you want to find out how to do something. You can look it up. You can connect with people so much easier. Like, hey, I'm connected with all of you. There's where you could find the people that you want to connect with, or the teachers that you want to learn more, so that you can are able to work with what it is inside of yourself to allow it to grow. Hence, we're having Journey Club next Tuesday. We have the astrology. I'm calling it the astrology club. The astrology club. I feel like we're going to start the astrology club, because I think I said Journey Club, so it's the astrology club next Monday. And that astrology is going to go through what the energies are for May. And, Venus is going to be going into Gemini. We have a lot of movement that's going to be happening in May, and how we can utilize that energy and then understand some of the basics, right? And that's a big thing. I'm just trying to stay in my body and not float away. So this is, where healing, there's some healing that's happening. Mars, I mean, Scorpio is it's it's the ending. It can be upsetting. There can be anger, and it's only wants to do its shadow work. Like, it just wants to get into shadow. That's why I'm so good at doing Journey Club, right? I because I want to get into the shadow. I want to get into the nitty gritty of shit. That's why I love doing predictions and things. I want to know this stuff. I want to, I want to do my research. Let me look into this and find out what it's all about. Right. So this is an activation are happening like crazy. So there's a lot of activations, a lot of energy just being turned on within you. This is where, you may have to uh, sit, meditate, do a mantra, bring out your mala beads, do your mala beads, bring out your rosary, do your rosary, do your affirmations. This is about really having and honing in that focus, as Candace says, to stay calm. So you're not getting going down those crazy roads. And this is where, especially when you have, Saturn is quincunxing the south node. Illusionary fields not happening. There's things that you're not going to see in a quincunx. And especially with the south node, and the south node is in Libra, like, not to buy the crazy illusion. There's no fix. There's no quick fix for things right now. Nothing is going to get fixed like that. You're not going to get fixed like that. Things are not going to get fixed right away. And this is, where, between Jupiter and Pluto, there's a 44 degrees between the two. Both of them are going to be going retrograde. And there's still kind of that feeling, there's still that sort of residue of the Saturn Pluto conjunctions that happened on January 12th. So we still have that real cray kind of stuff that's still happening. That's still sort of, that's why you hear that's why a lot more is coming out about the pandemic, the elixir, the things that came from the elixir and all of that, because it's still that residue energy, and it's still there, even though they're trying to shove it underneath the carpet, right? And, oh, don't look over here. No, don't worry about it. Just go get your next one. It's all good. We're not, they're not wanting you, you're not really seeing still a lot. And South Node just wants everything balanced, everything good. It's in Libra. We got to do it well. Don't worry. This is all about justice. Justice. I mean, that's why you're having a crazy court case with Trump. It's about justice and it's in the South Node and it's bringing up a lot of crazy shit that's already been brought up, that's already been discussed, and nobody really gives a flying fuck. But hey, someone's making money off of all of this bullshit. And that's the other part. It's like, where is all of this going? So we have to come back. We have to look into, and especially with a full moon that's squaring Pluto, it's a depressed shadow, ego reconstruction, and this is for us to take the time. Things are coming out. There is, but we don't want the self manipulation with it all. I'm still in prepping mode. I know they will pull more crap. Well, here's the crazy thing that's going on. Some of the crazy things I was talking about before at the beginning about all the fires that are happening and starting. So we had all these crazy fires that are happening. A lot of people who are like, there is today's St. George's Day in the UK, and the celebration of their flags, which is the red and white flag of the UK. So we have that's happening in the UK, and a lot of people are they're appalled by the Union Jack. They're appalled by St. George's flag, and I'm just like, okay. And it's not the people who live there. It's not the citizens of Britain who are, the so-called citizens, the actual Brits who are offended by it. It is, and those are what you would call the natives of Britain. I never even thought of that before, or of Ireland, calling them the natives, but I guess they are, that are offended. You have that. So we have that's happening, and people are being offended about that. So people are just really wanting, I want this to change, and then my life will be better. If it goes like this, my life will be better. The protesting that's happening in New York and in other universities, at Columbia University, you're seeing that get rid of all of them and my life will be better. That's, so again, you're getting this energy that's saying, we want to get rid of all of this, instead of saying, no, how can we come together, utilize what we have to join together in harmony to create peace with one another? Crazy concept. I know it's a crazy concept, but that's what you're going to find. The struggle or the pull is that so many want it to be, get rid of that, and then everything will be better. And that's looking for some kind of big turning point or something, to bring up, more. And so that's still with that Pluto Jupiter, that Pluto Saturn conjunction that we had all the way back in 2020, is still making a play in causing opposition and causing isolation and pushing people to crazy extremes. And of course, a full moon in Scorpio just amplifies it all up, baby. That's what we just bring in the dumpster dive and shit. That's what it does. So in realizing that, it is taking a step back. It is seeing all that's going on and taking some big breaths, because it is about big breath time. It is where a lot of triggers are going to be coming out, and a lot more triggers you're going to be are going to be. It's like, anybody have a sibling? That sibling that when you were driving in the back of the car and they told you not to look out my window. Don't look, that's my window. You can't look out my window. Windows for everybody to look out, right? You can't. This is my side of the car. Don't come on my side of the car. It's kind of the craziness of the energy. Or they come with their finger and tell you they're not touching you, and they're like millimeters away from you, and you could just feel their energy, and you're just ready to just punch them, right? That's the energy. That's the craziness that's out there. The craziness that's going to try and push you and pull you into something that you don't need to be pulled into, where you need to come back and come into the place of peace, and the place where of deep breaths and breathing in and out. That's going to be the best advice ever. What are some of the craziness that are happening? There is a oh, where is it? Shit. It's in Australia. Anyways, there's a place in Australia, and it had 3 banks with ATMs there, and they've just, recently taken all the banks out, and now they have to travel over 500 miles if they wanna get any cash out. So there's things like that. So there's a huge what we're going to be seeing, and especially with the sun in Taurus, and the Taurus rules everything to do with banking systems, the bullion. You got Uranus there and everything. So we're going to start seeing things to do with the banking system and the banking crisis. So this is where it's like, okay, now I got to think logically of what I need to do for myself, my family, and the people around me. Right? I gotta look at this and look at this seriously of what it is that I need to do. So this is looking at, okay, I need to either make sure I have money or make sure I have things. There was an event some a friend was going to in down in around the LA. It was a Japanese event, Japanese fair. But to get into it, it was $10 and they only took cash. And there's a huge lineup for the ATM machine. The other piece too is that you're going to be seeing more costs when for businesses when utilizing the ATM or using their Visa, Mastercard, or debit because it's going to cost them more money to do that. And even though they're trying to get rid of the cash, it's going to cost you more money um, to use your debit card, or they're going to add in an additional charge to that. These are the kinds of things that you're going to be starting to see as we're in this, what we're going to call a silent depression. So we're going to be seeing little things like that coming up more so. So a little bit crazy, a little bit crazy. So full moon is going to bring in and we don't want to do any self manipulation or coming into a place of lack. If you're feeling like you don't have something right now, just wait till after this full moon. You're going to see an activation where things are going to start really flowing in nicely for you. It's not going to be so much of a struggle, and especially if you're lacking anything to do with money. So you're going to see that today might feel really tight. Um, I feel like things will be opening up when it comes financially for a lot of people more so. But then again, it's coming again. We're going back to your self reliance and the things that you can do, the things that you can create in order to bring forth that abundance and do that. Right. So that's a key part. It's not just sitting there doing kumbaya in the middle of the living room and hoping that, I don't know, money's going to flood through the vents of your house. I mean, that would be nice too, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it's taking this time today and really looking at, well, what can I do? What can I create? What are the things that I can start to utilize in order to bring more of the abundance into my life and into the lives of the people I love? And creating that on a very because Scorpio also controls banking systems. So, the money, personal money and everything is like Taurus creating the personal money. When it comes to the joint finances, anything that where you have a joint with money with, that could be the bank because you have a relationship with the bank, your money in the bank, your relationship with somebody else, and you have a joint financing, government, taxes, all of that is related to Scorpio and it's ruled by Scorpio. So things for banking, those things are going to be definitely coming up in this next week. So we're going to hear a lot about banks, more banking crisis, more banks being closed, how many banks are going to be closed, and the whole bit. So a little bit, and this is where, okay, mama's been telling me this since, for how long. So that means I better, if I haven't been doing anything, it's time to really start to get my shit together and get things going, right? And that's a big piece. Now, somebody I know, Charlene did. Hello, Charlene, and hello, sweet little baby pets. And who else? There's a few other people that sent me. Um, and what is her name? Jody. She is a Vedic astrologer, and I guess um she did a reading about the Canadian chart and the RPM's chart together. And I've gone over this before, and a lot what she was saying is things that I've been saying for the past couple years. But it when I guess when it's more in the now, that's when people remember. That's when they um I don't know. It's just like, me talking about the war, or me talking about the depression, or me talking about, prepping and everything. It doesn't mean anything until it's, "Oh my god, what the fuck? Did you know this, mama?" And I'm just like, "I've been talking about that for the last 4 fucking years." But, things that whatever's happening with the PM relates to whatever or the president, whatever country they are ruling at that time. And first of all, I thought she was funny because she didn't even know, she couldn't remember that we had a prime minister. Um, they don't, people who because if you're an American, you don't understand any other person's government. Even some Americans don't even understand their own fucking government, but don't understand how other governments rule in the world, which is sometimes I find mind blowing. Uh, because as Canadians, we kind of know a lot about other countries and how they rule and how they function. Now, we know that every 5 years we are to have an election, and the next election is supposed to be next year. With that, in knowing that, he'll be up. He's been ruling what for 9 years or something stupid. So coming up to 10 years of if it goes if and now if it goes to the election for next year. They're pushing for the election for next year, and the reason why they're doing it and they changed the date with the election of next year, and that is because so that Turban Boy and a few others can get their pension for the rest of their lives. No, their pension is not like anybody who me, you, who've paid into the pension plan to get a fucking pension. Their pension is, and plus they don't pay taxes, just an FYI, off their money that they receive. Um, so they really don't pay into it, but they're going to receive something from the taxpayer. And what they do, and it's equivalent to what they are earning as a member of parliament. So if I earned what I was earning as a person, working person, I'm going to call a working class girl, and I would be probably bringing in my retirement by the time I'm between 60 and 65. I would be bringing in maybe 45 to 50,000 a year per se. You know, but that's that doesn't happen with the pension that you paid into, right? But that's what so if they've been earning per se say $250,000 a year, they would be continually earning the 250,000 a year for the rest of their life because they served 6 years or what have you as an MP. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because it has to do with the chart. That's the other part of the chart. So it has to do with the money area of the Canadian chart and the money area of our PM. His money area of his chart is very much where there is financial problems that are hitting him, financial issues that are hitting him. Now, with those financial problems, there's also financial problems that are happening in Canada that are going to be hitting us even more, and especially as we are going in between now and of February and March of next year. This is very prevalent to even to the energies of now with because we're in a money energy with Taurus and Scorpio. It's like looking at your money, looking at your money or lack thereof of your money and where that money is going, right? So this is all part of what is going to be unfolding over the next several months, and especially over the summertime. It's not going to you're going to be feeling the pinch, the squeeze of how things are rolling out for us. The UK has just increased their budget when it comes to the military. Weirdly enough, Canada has only increased it by 1.7% of our of it of our budget, I guess it is, which we should be at least 2% to stay in NATO, which is quite interesting in the fact that we're still a part of NATO. But here's the whole thing is like there is also within the chart and within the chart of Canada and of our PM, he's in a an area where we would say of war, like warring type of energy. His chart is bringing in, especially since Pluto is going back into Capricorn, it's coming into an area where it's going to come into disruptions. It's going to come into a place where there is going to be uprising within his chart and the chart of Canada. And that's coming in September, October, November. So we're going to be seeing uprising. We're going to be seeing and feeling that of things happening. Now she mentioned some kind of explosion. Um I know that's my voice of saying I don't know. That's my I don't feel it. I don't really see the explosion. I see more of people of I mean if there is explosion it might even happen in Ottawa if there is, but it's by foreign hands. It's not by the hands of Canadians themselves. It would be by foreign hands. So some foreign hands coming in and causing disruption. Now, don't know who the foreign hands is, and I'm not going to say if I do know here on an open platform, anyways. So there is that of foreign hands. So we also know that there is going to be an election in the United States. We are tied to the United States, of whatever happens there has somewhat of a reflection or a vibration that comes up to us because we have a close border. There is that, when we're going into Biden's chart, and it's amazing. It's just looking at his chart is weird because there's so many indications that he shouldn't be here. Just saying. And he has a 12th house. He's a 12th house Scorpio. So there's a lot of deep fucking shit that's going on and karmic shit in his chart. So it's ruled by Pisces, and Pisces is in Neptune. So and Mercury and Mars is coming up to conjunct it, conjunct um Neptune in the next while. So there is going to be something that's going to be really disruptive, in not only in the United States but also in Canada as well. We are a Cancer chart, so is the United States. So we are very much home togetherness, homebody type of energy. That's July 4th and July 1st. They're Cancer energy. So wanting that. But the thing is that we are the rushing water, wanting to be out there, wanting to be on the forefront, wanting to be ahead of the game with that. So there's that, that's coming into to play as well. So the charts are very interesting to look at. And just hearing some of the things that she said is, I agree with. And I agree with a lot of things that she said. She's pretty bang on. And it's just an interesting rollout that's going to be happening over the next little while. That again, coming back to this full moon, getting down to grassroots, getting back down into your internal self and figuring out what it is that you need to do internally and what are your resources within you to make things grow and to make things happen. So pretty much, yeah. So anyways, let's pull a card for today. So all of the full moon readings are out. So you should have received your full moon reading already. We're going to pull in the fairy cards. If you are wanting to register for the astrology for May, definitely get a hold of me. We have that. Or if you want to do a journey club, 4 weeks of journey club. So, and both those classes are $75. And when you register for the classes, you have to let me know when you're going to pay. It's like great that people are registering, but you have to let me know when you're going to pay, and if you are wanting, to pay it in two parts or what have you, because I know sometimes, people can't do it, and that's fine as long as I know. I just need to know. All right. I'm late. Hi, Lexi. Two parts, please. Lexi's here. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Okay, highlights for Lexi. We talked about the full moon. We talked about the full moon, that you have to really go with what you have internally. You also don't start reaching out to everything outside of yourself, because it could be coming a dumpster dive, and you might just throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that's not where it's at. It's about really coming in and really looking at what it is that you have and not burning the bridges, right? And that when you start reaching out, the unhappiness is, that you think it's there, but it's unhappiness is outside of you, right? So it's looking at, this is what I need to have. I know I have it. I know I have it all, right? We also have, with it being square to Pluto, causing a little bit of issues, causing some tension. There you go. You can go back. I talked about Trudeau's chart briefly and the Canadian chart briefly. And I might bring that up because I might end up pulling those back, and I'll do another live on those two charts and do that, because people are interested in knowing, what the fuck's our prime minister doing? So talking about that was a huge piece to this. And with that Saturn and Pluto being at 44 degrees, and they're both going to be retrograding. Pluto's going to be retrograding in a couple of weeks, that we're still kind of getting that residue effect from 2020, from January 12th, 2020, when they conjunct it, and that residue effect of what that caused in March of 2020, and how that is still affecting us in many different ways in our world, from of information that's being exposed and coming out, and still information that's still being hidden, and the issues that it has caused with the elixir. And so there's still, like, even 44 degrees apart, there is that that pull, there's still that energy there. And I feel like it's not until they really, I think, come, Saturn really moves in and moves out of Aries, and goes, or out of, when Saturn moves out of Pisces and into Aries, that we are going to get even more of the truth of things. Things are really going to start to come on fire in and around that time, and that's not going to be till 2025, actually March of 2025. um so we have that's happening as well. So there's a lot of, like, these little buildups, these little things that we just came off of, like the solar eclipse, the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, to this full moon. So we've come into where, this the eclipse really was a setup, the lunar and the solar eclipse, a setup of where direction we're going to, what is going to be unfolding for us over the next 6 months. And we are seeing it, that there's going to be some big changes, that we're going to find that we really have to rely on our own inner self in order to allow for things to grow and have. And as we are allowing for things to grow, to make sure that we are taking care of the things that are important to us and our families and our community, which is going to be very important over this next while. And then comes the Empress. So the Empress, wanting to bring in the abundance, she is also ruled by Venus. So Venus not really happy, at all where she is. She is snuggled up to Eris right now, which isn't really the best, having the pretty princess up with Eris, who is like, what are you doing here, bitch? ready for a fight. It's like Barbie goes down and turns the corner and she's in ghetto land. She's like, ah, it's not where I wanted to be. But here it is. Here's the Empress is saying, you got the power of creativity. That's where it's like all of a sudden this Barbie meeting up with Aries is like, I know what I have inside, what I can create. I know I can have success with a lot of things. So how am I able to relate to this? How am I able to work with this? So I'm not in a friction where I'm not in trying to think oh, I'm so much better than you are because I'm Barbie and you're not. This is where it's like coming down. It's like, hey, what is it that I can do to help to create things better for you? How can we create something together, right? With the gifts I have and with the gifts you have, let's see what we can come together and compromise with. That's building the bridge. That's creating something, right? It's not coming in and saying, oh, fuck, burn the bridge and run away. No. So the Empress is really coming in to really build something. And then we have the five of summer, which is the five of wands. And the five of wands is trust there's a reason for everything that happens. Trust you went around the corner and you ran into those girls that you didn't really want to run into, but you had to run into them because you needed to have an understanding. You needed to know that, okay, there is something there that we can create. We can't be angry at each other all the time. And someone like, yes, we can. You just watch. I can be angry at you all the time. But what service is that getting you? It's like, seeing what was happening. I think it's at Columbia University. And just listening to some of those the students is just like, oh my god, you guys are university students and you don't know fucking history. Like I don't care. Like it's like this is a place of knowledge. This is a place of learning. So before you speak, know what the fuck you're speaking about. Know what you're doing and what you are saying. And just hearing some of the things that were coming out of their mouths was just like, holy crap. Telling people to go back to Poland. Told these Jewish people, go back to Poland. My family's been here for like 100 and plus years. Like, you want me to go back to Poland? See, the idiocy of it all. And then celebrate the death of things that happened, right? To somebody else, to another nation, and celebrating that, then wanting peace and wanting somebody else to be peaceful with you and not be angry with you. Instead of coming together and saying, hey, you know what, shit's been done, man, and I'm sorry. Let's work on this. Let's work on that, right? That's where it comes is focusing on that which frightens and worries you, because the thing is that there's a lot of things out there in our world right now that's frightening us. That's scary. You turn on, you don't even have to turn on, you just go on Netflix, you go on YouTube, you go on whatever it is, you're going to see it, right? Whatever you're watching, there's a subliminal um, information that comes through. Going on TikTok. I mean, there's a fucking reason why TikTok is going. Like, you got to think there's a universal reason for things to disappear. Whether it was Periscope. I loved Periscope, but it went away. That was one of my biggest platforms ever. I just loved Periscope. It was great. I met so many fabulous people and great connections. TikTok, I've never felt a draw for it. Like, I post things, but you don't see me doing too many like part of this will get posted on TikTok. I watch it. We watch when we're when we drop my grandson off, we watch funny dog videos or funny cat videos. That's what Mateus and I watch on TikTok, right? And because there is so much there, like, that probably doesn't come across your feed. That is horrendous. And this is where I feel like the universe is trying to get us to go into a higher realm of being, a higher realm of connection, right? And that comes when we come into ourselves internally and look at, oh, that's my light. That's my direction, right? So know that there's a reason because the abundance is coming. The abundance is there. And as it is happening, we get the world card. Life as you know it is changing. There's a reason for it. There's a reason why things are changing. There's a reason why there is disruption within it. I don't believe that God, goddess, divine, universe, or source wants really wants us to fight, wants us to um, go through hardship or whatever horrific things that happen upon this earth. But there's an understanding of non-judgment when it comes to the divine and comes to the universe, because it understands that, hey, you guys chose to be in this world. You chose to come on this earth walk. And in choosing this earth walk, there was a knowing and an acknowledgement that you came to, that you knew that it's not going to be easy and not everything is going to be a bed of roses, and that not everything is going to be the way that you want it to be, and have all the health and the wealth and the longevity, right? I'm still mad at myself for coming here. That you're not going to have, but what it's saying is that there is a greater power than we know. And in acknowledging that there's a greater power than what we know, then we can surrender to it. And as we surrender it to it, then we are opening ourselves up to something greater than what we are, something greater than what we can ever imagine. And when we open up to something greater than what we could imagine, or greater than what we are, and acknowledging that, prosperity comes in, abundance comes in. It comes in a way that you don't understand at first, or you may not recognize at first, because it's coming to you in a way that is bringing you something that you never expected. And and in that, it could be that, you know my thought goes to somebody who is dying, or a child dying, and you say, oh my God, that's so horrific. It is it's like, to know that a child has some horrific disease and is dying. But there is this part of it, this connection of it, when you meet some of those children that are dying, that come with such love, such compassion, and no fear. It's a beautiful thing. And they and I feel like in many times, and I know this is, and when we can see that, or when we witness that, it's like, oh wow, there is something greater than I am. And that's where we have to trust. There's a reason for this. There's a reason for having the ruler that we have. There's a reason for the everything unfolding before our very eyes, or things being taken away from us. And at first it might be hard and very difficult, because we are human and we have emotions with it. And in understanding those emotions and acknowledging those emotions is a big one. And when you acknowledge those emotions, then you are able to say, hey, I can work with this, right? And that gives you a greater scope so that you can help someone else. That's some of the biggest lessons that we're going to be having, and especially with this full moon, right? People are still having such a narrow focus in life. Yeah. Where things like ego and money take a center stage. And it's pitiful. Oh, I get you, Moondrop. I get you. I get you, baby. And it's hard. And that's where our love, our understanding, because when we start to be angry, which is sometimes very difficult not to do, and we start to judge, which is also a very difficult thing to do. When I watched, um, the feed on what was happening in on the universities in the United States. I was just like, I was appalled. I was appalled, first of all, at these kids doing what they're doing. And I get it. You're a university, you're radical, you're fighting, you're at that. Some of them are at their nodal return, so they're like, fighting it all, and at a resistant age. And some of them are coming into, a quarter square to their Saturn, and they're really feeling that, I'm gonna fight this shit, blah, blah, blah. And you know, this is where seeing it, and you're just like, okay, yeah, I get it. But there is also this part where it's like, where is the compassion? Like, where did the compassion go? That's a big one. When the Empress comes up, is saying, it's there. It's time for us to take action. It's time for us to take action on the things that we can do, and the gifts that we have inside, and get it out there, right? And do what it is that we are able to do. That's a big piece. And there's a reason for it, and we got to trust in that reason. Sometimes we just don't know, but it's going to be brilliant. There's going to be success in it. There's going to be freedom that's going to come into it. But within that freedom, there's a responsibility that has to be taken, and it can't be taken for granted. That's the big one. The freedom that you got cannot be taken for granted, because right now too much is taken for granted, and freedom is taken for granted. And that's what's happening, right? And this Moondrop says, this is the issue I faced recently with a friend, where I realized I couldn't connect with that person anymore. Yeah. And all you can do is send them out with love and light. That's all you can do. Send them out with love and light. Bless them. Bless their road. Bless everything that they have. And pray that, you know what? I pray that you live a beautiful, loving, creative, fulfilling life. And that's, and no harm to you and no harm to me. But sometimes the Scorpio comes in, which is vengeful, because the Scorpio has a tail that will kill you, because it's that, because the feelings run deep. The feelings run deep, and we have to realize that, oh shit, okay, I can't do that. I gotta be kind. I gotta be loving. I gotta send them kind, and cut, clear, delete, get the fear out of here, or cut, clear, delete, get the fuck out of here. Right? So asking, calling in Archangel Michael, calling in the angels and saying, angels, come here, be with me, in me, and around me. Cut, clear, delete. Take this away. Take these thoughts away, because they're not bringing me to the highest good. They're just bringing me down. and this is not where I want to be. This is not where I want to be. So it's a constant practice. Last card. Oh, the 8 of Swords. It's not that bad, but you have what it takes. 8 of Swords comes in. You have what it takes. You got it. You got it, girl. Sometimes I think my twin is a Scorpio. Maybe that's why we get along so well, Lexi. Well, Geminis and Scorpios, they're a good blend, but then again, they're not a good blend. As I say to people, there's a reason why I keep nice people around me. I have to have beautiful, loving people around me, because if I don't have beautiful, loving people around me, I could get myself into trouble. So got to keep the love. So if you're wanting a reading, definitely get a hold of me. thegurumama@gmail.com. Astrology class next Monday. Journey Club next Tuesday. And off we go into this world. Have a blessed one, everyone. May the Lord Almighty watch over and bless each and every one of you, in all you say, and all you be, and all you do. Like and subscribe and share the video, baby. Talk to you soon. Bye.